Mr. Armakolас, first of all, welcome to Skopje.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
It's been a while since we spoke about the Greece veto for now North Macedonia, but we have different issues now at the Balkans. Will Albania become the new Macedonia for Greece? Is there a veto for Albania in December?
I hope not, and I believe it will not be, in the sense that between Greece and North Macedonia the problem was deeper and it went on for many years, and it delayed the accession process of North Macedonia for several years. The current difficulties with Albania are smaller. I don't think it's such a massive, big problem between the two countries like it was the name dispute. And I also hope that it will be something that will be overcome very soon, because it's important to overcome. So I don't think it will be as a big issue as it was between Greece and North Macedonia.
But there is possibility for veto in December.
Yeah, there is I think, let's put it this way, unless we see some changes in the coming weeks in the relations between the two countries, and we can explain what that could be. I expect that in the December European Council there will not be a decision for Albania to open negotiating chapters and clusters. So that's my expectation, unless something changes in the next few weeks.
Mitsotakis demands Beleri to be released, but the answer of Edi Rama is that he will not interfere in the judiciary. Who is right, who is wrong?
So the two countries have a different interpretation of what is the sticking point here. The Greek position has evolved. Actually, what Greece says is that this is an administrative issue. It's not a judicial issue, and Greece says we do not interfere in the judicial processes of a neighboring country. But this is an administrative issue, and it's not exactly that they demand the release of the mayor-elect, but they demand that on the basis of the administrative procedure, the mayor-elect Beleris is allowed to be sworn in. So he's allowed to actually take on the position of mayor, even though he's in prison right now. And then the Albanian side says that this is a judicial issue and it's an issue for the independent judiciary, and the government cannot be, as is the demand also of the conditionalities of the European Union, the government can be and should not be implicated in any way in the judicial process. So this is the different interpretation of the two sides, and there have been some reports that there is some sort of let's say compromise in the making. I think I understand that for Greece the most important thing is that the mayor-elect is sworn in. It's not so much about what will happen in his trial, but rather that he's allowed after so many months to actually take office. But even if even if later on there will be new elections and someone else is elected, but I think that this is my understanding. But I don't know whether this compromise solution, and there is obviously some discussions between the two sides, can be reached until the European Council in December.
Will a new veto in the Balkans hit the credibility of the European Union?
I think every veto in the enlargement process undermines the credibility of the European Union, one way or another. Before, with Greece and with Bulgaria, with delays on the part of the French diplomacy, it always undermines the credibility of the European Union. I think delays at this point are not good news for the region, simply because there is a new momentum because of the war in Ukraine and the fact that the enlargement policy is back on the agenda. Personally, I don't know for how long enlargement will still be popular. Maybe it is something for the near future, maybe for the next couple of years. It's the urgency because of the war in Ukraine. It's important that the countries that do not have major problems, like Kosovo, Serbia, for example, or Bosnia and Herzegovina, countries like Montenegro, like Albania, like North Macedonia, to proceed as soon as possible with some accelerated accession process. And therefore, any delay, I would say, it's not good news for the region. At the same time, I think we need to see better understanding between EU member states and the candidates. So somehow, all sides need to understand that this is a critical moment where, if we are serious about the prospect of Western Balkans joining the EU, more effort should be invested by all sides in order to see this process being accelerated very soon.
If Athens and Tirana won't make any kind of consensus during these couple of weeks, Athens will put a veto on the December summit to Albania negotiation process. So does this mean that the package Tirana-Skopje will divide? But on the other side, Skopje is still still blocked with the constitutional changes. So what will happen? What to expect?
I don't know if there will be a formal veto on the part of Greece or Bulgaria, but probably a non-decision. Just the European Council will decide that will leave this decision for the opening of negotiating chapters for a later stage, for next year. I think for both Albania and North Macedonia, it seems at the moment that it is a tricky point, a tricky period, and like you said, also in North Macedonia, it seems that the condition to change the constitution is not at all certain that it will be achieved until the end of the year. So
it's a big possibility for both of the countries to be put aside till the next year.
Yes. No, I don't know if it's going to be a formal veto, probably not a formal veto, just the European Council will decide that they will not decide on this issue in December.
Does Greece have support from other EU members, maybe behind closed doors, for the situation with Tirana?
I think not. My information, and I may be wrong, or I don't have full information on the issue, but my information is that several countries were not very happy with the position that Greece adopted, simply because this is a period where we should be doing more, because it's back on the agenda and there is the expectation that the process will get going.
What about
my information is that the Spanish presidency also was not happy with Greece's position, because it was working hard to find some compromise also on the North Macedonia-Bulgaria issue, and therefore another problem like between Greece and Albania was also appeared on the agenda. So overall, and you know that we are expecting to see whether at the European Council there will be decisions also to start the process of reforms of the EU in order to see the enlargement process moving on in the next few years. So it's a period of flux, but a positive flux in the sense that we see things happening in the direction of enlargement. And I think many countries were not happy with the way.
What about Paris?
Paris, I'm not sure. I don't know. But I noticed that in the annual report of the European Commission, the issue was not mentioned in the chapters 23, 24 in the judiciary, but it was mentioned in a very neutral way in the bilateral relations section of the report. That is, for me, an indication that many countries see this as a bilateral issue rather than a problem of judicial reforms.
Yes. How do you evaluate the relations between Skopje and Athens now 5 years after the Prespa agreement?
I would say, I've said this before and I continue to have the same position. Relations are good, are definitely much better than they were 10 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. But there is a potential between the two countries on the basis of the Prespa agreement, on the basis that we are two neighboring countries Greece is the bigger country, North Macedonia is the smaller country, and we can help a lot North Macedonia. We have joint interests on a number of policy areas if we would work together, collaborate together. So the potential is there. There are some policy areas in which we see good progress. This is the energy sector, for example. But we could see much more, for example, in collaboration in the security area, in the various foreign policy questions. And also, we could see much more happening in building better relations and reconciliatory efforts at the level of society so that we have better understanding between the two societies. That remains to be seen. I think we haven't seen enough of that happening in the last 5 years. I'm glad the issue is not there anymore, but for two neighboring countries that share so much and for two countries that have the potential to be very good friends, I think there's many, many more that can be done.
Can we expect a new veto from Greece during the negotiation process?
I think not. If the relations are the way they are now, I think not a veto. If we have a change in the political situation here in North Macedonia and we see different policies on the part of a future Skopje government, I don't know what kind of policies would that be, and I cannot project in the future, but if we have changes that would be in the direction of undermining this kind of positive relations that we have between the two sides, maybe we'll see difficulties in the future. As I said, right now we are in a good state that can become even better, and we should become even better. So my mind is not on the vetoes, but is more on how to have even better relations than we have at the moment.
Mr. Armakolas, what is happening in Greece? Actually, with the main political party, opposition political party, Syriza, 45 members left left Syriza under the name Umbrella. Mm-hmm. How will this actually? What does this mean actually for the Greek political scene?
Listen, right now we would say that in Greece we have a political system that is totally dominated by one party, the governing party of New Democracy, the center-right party, and the opposition is practically in shambles, is in dire straits. So there's not one party that we can see with some potential, with some dynamism that could challenge the authority, that would challenge the power of the government. Syriza is weakening. The new leadership, since the new leadership was elected, is weakening even more. PASOK is increasing its strength, but not so much, so it's not becoming a serious opposition factor. So right now I would say we have a fragmented opposition, and New Democracy is very strong, and if things remain as they are, I think they will be in power for several years to come. I know that Syriza is a party that has many friends in this country because it was with the Syriza government that the name dispute was settled. Understand this, it's fine, it is understandable, but I think relations between the two countries have to be built no matter which government is in Skopje or in Athens. And I think the good friendships are tested also when governments, either in Skopje or in Athens, that are not fully supportive of the Prespa agreement are there. And I think this will be the test case for the future of relations.
There were accusations for Kasselakis, the new leader of Syriza, that he is turning right, on the right wing, with his politics like Donald Trump. Is this true?
Difficult to say, because it's not very clear what exactly his policies and his ideas about the future of the party and the future of Greece are. He's totally new. He was not a political figure in the country before a couple of months ago. And he's not also very clear about what his ideas about what to do next are. And also we should say that Syriza is a party that is traditionally was not very much leader oriented. I mean, it was very much a party with collective decision making, etc., which remains to be seen what will happen, because now it seems that we have a leader that is challenged by an important segment of the party, and as you also said, some important, powerful figures of the party are leaving the Syriza. So difficult to say. There are some who say that the party will turn right. I don't know exactly what that means, because obviously to the right of Syriza there is PASOK, there is a New Democracy. I don't know if there is space for Syriza to grow to the right, but as things stand now, it's very uncertain. The future of Syriza is very uncertain. It's also very difficult for anyone to predict what the stances and the positions of the leadership of the party will be.
Yes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.